Today I'm going to review the book How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, written in 1936. This book sold over 30 million copies and is one of the best sold books of all time. Dale Carnegie was born poor and lived on a farm, but he got a lot of his experience by working as a salesperson and doing public speaking. So I first read this book when I was about 14 years old, when I was about to go to high school, and I was hoping it would help me figure out how to navigate social things a little better because I wasn't too good at that back then. But I didn't imagine what kind of effect it would have on me long term, because I still think about this book and I still think that every leader should read it, people in relationships should read it, because it's really helpful for anybody. And after COVID, when a lot of children were prevented from having normal social interactions at school, and also in the day and age of technology where we communicate a lot online, where we don't have to have social niceties because we don't feel like that there's going to be any blowback for it, this kind of book is really helpful in helping people come back to earth about how to treat others. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about some of his most important points from this book. I'm not going to go over everything in extreme details, because I would like if some people would read this book so they could get the full benefit out of it. So 3 things that he suggests people avoid at all costs is criticism, condemnation, and complaining. So these 3 factors, he argued that these only put other people on the defensive and makes them resentful. And he did encourage honest and sincere appreciation, so focusing on strengths and trying to understand things from others' perspectives. This is important because if you don't understand things from other people's perspectives, you're not going to motivate them effectively because you don't really know what they want. So oftentimes I see this last one forgotten by management. When leaders try to strong arm or punish employees into doing what they want, this often creates resistance, and sometimes it even creates worse behaviors. What should be happening instead is employers should try to understand what incentivizes their employees, and also reinforcing the behaviors that they want to see. So if someone is performing the way they want, they should be rewarded for that. That's basic conditioning. As Dale pointed out, a person who only provides negative feedback only breeds contempt and resistance. So the next part of this book focuses on strategies to build goodwill between yourself and others. So this is important because we have a social bank account with each other. So basically, if we do something nice for somebody, it's like putting a little coin into a bank account with them. And when we do something that's unkind or hurtful, we take a coin out. And we want to be like in the green with other people. So when you do things like smile, share in people's interest, remember people's names, find something that you genuinely admire or find interesting about the person and make them feel important, these things really help build that goodwill. So for example, if I'm at work and I remember someone's name, I remember that they love gardening, and talk to them about their son's soccer game. In the future, if I accidentally step on their foot or forget a task or do something that upsets them, there's a little bit of a buffer there, so that way it's not as devastating on the relationship between me and that person. So the next part that I'll talk about is how he suggests that you try to influence people or change their minds. So he says that you always want to begin a conversation with a gentle and friendly demeanor. So you kind of set the tone, like we're friends, or we're on the same side, or we love each other. Whatever the case is, you want to set the tone in peace, basically. He said to avoid arguing, focus on what you could agree on, let the other person talk. Don't cut them off, don't interrupt them, just let them feel like they got a chance to really get it all out. And try honestly to understand where they're coming from. Show sympathy for their side. Ask questions instead of commanding or directing them to do things. Let them feel like it's a choice to do these things. And even further, try to make it feel like it's their decision to do these things rather than something you're forcing them to do. Admit if you are wrong about any piece of the conversation or anything that they are worried about quickly, so they know it's not just them that is being held accountable, it's also you. And the last thing, make the other person feel happy about carrying through what you asked. So, for example, when I was a special education teacher for a short time, I worked with a lot of parents, and I would always start the conversation by highlighting the best things about their kids and the best things about the parents' role in their success, because I didn't want them to walk in there and feel attacked. I knew if they felt like that they would either tune out, leave, or not do any of the things that their kids needed to get to that next level. So if parents weren't helpful, I try to reiterate that I knew that they cared about their children, that they're good people, they're good parents, and that there are just these things that, we can work on together. And I'd make it feel like it's us. It's an us team kind of thing, instead of you didn't do it right, which never makes anyone feel good. And I had a lot of success with that. I was able to get through to some parents that historically didn't speak very much to the teachers because they felt so attacked. And they had a lot of difficult circumstances going on, which I tried to take note of and be like, I know, you're homeless right now, or I know you guys are struggling, and I understand it's hard to do A, B, C. And I would try to help find solutions too. So it's always good to try to come at these conversations with other people expecting the best of them and thinking of them as a good person or a person with potential. People could feel it when you've kind of already condemned them in your mind to not being good enough or being bad and things like that. This book is very close to my heart because I really do believe in finding the best in people opposed to tearing them down, and that's why I give it a 5 out of 5. I'd love to hear if anybody else read this book and what they took from it, or if you just had some things kind of come up in your mind, like after you heard me speak about it. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. Have a nice day.